Right.
Okay. 10:06, guys. Maybe it's time to get this show on the road here, just so we're cognizant of everybody's time. I guess we'll start here. First of all, appreciate everyone taking the time to join us. The goal of this is really a high level introduction to just where we're at, from an evolutionary perspective in our product set, but also specifically touch on the Yeastar product that we're going to be launching here, really today and full scale next week. So that's really the goal. If you have questions, maybe let's try to save those to the end just so we can kind of get through it. And then, those people who, maybe are short on time or, you can jump off. So we'll just get to the guts of it really quickly here. And then that way we can kind of get to some Q&A. A lot of the maybe specific questions related to, the pricing, products, technical relations, management of that will all be addressed in separate webinars next week. Not to be political in my answers, but we don't want to necessarily go specifically too deep at this point. But all that information, you can reach out to your channel account manager, and then also see the follow-up stuff coming up, and I'll give that all to you later. So. Again, for those of you who don't know me, Chris Hunter, co-founder and vice president of sales. For those of you looking at my screen there, we do not use paid talent. That is Tom Hall on the right and Tina on the left. So just in case you're wondering. So what I really want to get into here is just sort of how we're evolving our product sets, and how we look at how we look at the future, both future products and what we have currently, and how that kind of folds into what you guys are doing. So that's really where I'll start. Let me get this moved forward here. There we go. So kind of like why we expanded, and a little bit just touched briefly on how we're expanding. As you guys, most of you probably know, we have been partner focused and partner centric from the very beginning. So for the last 16, 17 years, we have been exclusively channel partner based. We don't even have the ability as a sales team to take individual direct customers to us, right? And so that puts us in a pretty unique spot. Everybody in the organization, from the sales team to the orders team to the support team, are every day, all day, interact with channel partners and companies just like yours. And so that inevitably puts us in a very unique position to get feedback on where you guys are taking your businesses, what companies you're utilizing to do that, where you see the marketplace going, and what your customers are asking for, right? And so over the years, we take that feedback very seriously and sort of put that into the context of what we can help with, what we can deploy successfully, what business models make sense for this particular partnership, and where, as a service provider, we sit in sort of that food chain, right? And so, this has led us to, a few years ago, the development of our unified billing platform. Back when we first started, that was, really the holy grail, right? Figuring out how to get our combined products on a single invoice for the end user. And so we very successfully have done that with your feedback. We sort of continue to groom and evolve that product very successfully. And actually, to date, of our 500 active channel partners across the country today, a little over 300 of them are active in the unified billing platform. So we've been very successful together in that part of it. And from my perspective, I've always seen the unified billing platform as as the first step into an evolution of more of a greater, partnership, collaboration on products, right? Delivering customer needs, together, right? That's a big deal for us. And so we've evolved that into, what became the Clear Connection Marketplace, and that continues to expand, continues to grow for us as we continue to add third-party technology solution providers to that platform. And the goal that we have is to really, have something product-wise that really meets the needs and the individual, varying needs of your end users, right? And so I just sort of see from your perspective, you don't necessarily have all the time in the world to manage relationships with all these technology providers, right? Set up contracts, uh, uh, caretake the quality control, hold their feet to the fire when they're not delivering, right? And we're in a good position to do that, right? Because when we're aggregating those solutions, we carry a lot of weight with those guys. I mean, to have 500 active channel partners across the country, when you talk to a third party, technology solution provider, they listen. And so that puts us in a very unique position to be allies in this partnership, and we're just trying to continue to evolve that and leverage that and make this successful for everybody. And that's kind of the idea on how we're evolving this whole platform. And so what started as unified billing, or I should say go back, so it started as pure SIP trunking and pure telecommunication services, is now migrated into a billing platform, and is now migrating into a further solution in the Clear Connection Marketplace. And so you'll see continued evolution in that marketplace as we add more and more technology providers that we get feedback that are interesting to you. Everything from security as a service, hardware as a service, UCaaS as a service, right? And so a lot of those, companies are in there today, and will continue to evolve that platform. So just a little understanding from our perspective as to how we're evolving this and why we're doing it, really. And so if you look at, this sort of, ecosystem, it's really our job, and we take this again very, very seriously, to grow our solutions in meaningful, like impactful places that are relevant to you guys, right? And so, we can run out here and add this company or say we're in AI or do this or say this. But the reality is, if it's not relevant to what you're doing and how you're providing and the solutions that you're trying to solve or provide to solve the problems of your end users, it's really not helping anybody. And so that's why it's for us. I was kind of using this, with the sales team when they were here last week about, it's like sort of like the old fable, the tortoise and the hare, right? When the story you read your kids when you were putting them to bed, right? It's a little bit. I kind of look at Clearfly, a little bit like the tortoise, right? And a lot of companies ran out ahead really fast with some of these solutions, and we just sort of sat back and wanted to just make sure we were really successful at what we did every day and kind of grow the back end support, grow the partner portal, right? And then I look at it sort of like, we watched everybody fall in these little holes along the way, and we just sort of avoided them, right? And so now here comes the tortoise right here at the end, and that's really how I look at us. And my wife kind of laughs when I use that analogy, but I really feel like it's appropriate here. And so as we look at some of the holes that these other companies have fallen in, and again, we view you guys as our biggest ally in business. That's why we've kind of grown the way we have. And so you look at this ecosystem that we have here, which includes unified billing and includes our Clearfly marketplace. And I'm sure some of you would appreciate and understand, how successful the time that it's taken to develop our partner portal in the way that we have, which makes us truly unique in the marketplace. Like, you're starting to get a sense for the entire ecosystem that we're building here. And we're going to continue doing that and continue, continue to be your biggest ally in this space. We also recognize that we're in a fight for your time. You guys are busy. Your customers are asking you to go and grow in different ways that take you away from traditional voice in a lot of ways. And we recognize that. And we certainly understand that. And that's why we're continuing to evolve what really is truly an ecosystem. And so, yeah, here we are. And one component of this ecosystem is obviously the UCaaS platforms, hosted services, if you will, right? And when if you look at like sort of our evolution in this particular part of the product side, it's been very interesting, right? A lot of we run a Metaswitch platform ourselves, and have from the very beginning owned the licensing for Metaswitch's hosted services, right? So years ago, we could have been the first one out of the gate. We could have been the hare. We could have ran out with the Metaswitch platform and the hosted solutions and put that on the marketplace and in our product portfolio and ran with that. The problem was that it just didn't quite necessarily meet all the needs. And it was a kind of a warning for me as the guy who runs the sales side, right? And I don't want necessarily to be everything to everybody. I also don't want to necessarily force our partners into one particular technology stack or another. I also feel like there's a flaw in that strategy. And so backing into our development into our ecosystem and onto the marketplace and the UCaaS providers we have in there currently today, we've run into the Yeastar UCaaS platform, and we've spent the last 6 months exhaustively testing, building a relationship at a business level with the Yeastar company and understanding their platform. And I would say, we have some of the brightest technology stars in our space, right? And I'm very proud of that group. And I feel incredibly confident in their abilities to analyze, test, and most importantly, break things. And we set out really in this testing process, not just to see and add another product to our set, but we wanted to find a true solution here. And that's why we spent the last 6 months doing this. And we've gone through beta at this point and frankly been unsuccessful in breaking it. And if our group over here is unsuccessful in breaking something, that's a really, really good sign. And so here we are, ready to launch a new product inside of our UCaaS ecosystem, and it will not be everything to everybody. And again, that's why we are developing and have developed an ecosystem, because there is something inside of our product portfolio that will fit every customer's needs. Whether it's the Grandson hosted solution, whether it's the Netlink hosted product portfolio, whether it's the Intermedia product portfolio or Epergy itself. We have a number of different technologies in there, and the whole goal from our perspective is that there is something related to your customer's problem that we have a solution for. And Yeastar will certainly meet a number of those needs, but this is the one we're launching today. And as Tom mentioned, we're incredibly excited about. And I think the excitement comes from a couple of different areas. One, again, the back end technology, it has really proven to be fault tolerant. And again, if like I said, I can't say this enough. If our guys can't break it, then it's going to be really tough to break. And it provides a number of different business, interesting, compelling solutions from your perspective, right? And so that's why we're really so excited about this. It does meet a number of needs in the marketplace, and will really be a very successful, disruptive business solution, right? And so Traditionally, Yeastar and their product portfolio, you're able to purchase that from a distributor, a legacy technology distributor house, right? And that's how Yeastar has delivered to the marketplace in the United States so far. And that is in a business model that is a yearly upfront purchase. And we found that to be challenging as we looked at the product portfolio. Love the technology, love that the scalability, love how easy it is to scale and use and support. But if the business model doesn't make sense, then there's really no point, right? And so we spent some time creatively thinking through that business model and how best to do that. And it's interesting how we ended up, right? So we ended up with this as a backed by Clearfly product because of the way that they sell through distribution. So essentially what happens is Clearfly becomes a distributor for this service. We will we will pay the upfront cost and carry that cost and deliver that to you in a monthly recurring model, right? So that way it fits inside of everything else that we do, and it is easy and makes a lot of sense for you to deliver. So now this really provides us with a lot of flexibility. So what that looks like is and we're not introducing this model because we do have it in a number of different areas in our product portfolio today. But think of it as there'll be a floor price and the concept of a floor. And then your margin is everything above that floor minus 5%. And so there's 95% of the overage above the floor price is yours. And the 5% for us feels like a really important thing for us, right? We really want to share in the growth and upside. And true business partnerships, there's a sharing of the upside. There's a sharing of the revenue and a sharing of the income. And we feel pretty strongly that we should be a part of that. And with that said, I also feel incredibly strongly that in order to get your attention, this needs to be incredibly powerful financially. And so I feel that we have created that and in this solution, and this will be something that will be very, very powerful for you financially. So again, you'll hear more about the specificity wrapped around the pricing model and all of that in the sales training. We'll dive deeply into that. You'll clearly understand how the floor pricing model works for us. But needless to say, it'll be incredibly powerful from a financial standpoint. So also what you get with this product and this solution is you get Clearfly support. You get us behind it, taking care mutually, customer issues, running through, troubleshooting through the partner portal, just as you've done today. And I think probably, a lot of you would agree that we're very strong in that. And I as one of the executives in the company feel incredibly passionate about, how we mutually support end users. That's been something from the very beginning that we've driven throughout the culture of this company, and that's something that you will receive with this product. So just to touch on it very generically, and there's a number of different products, as it relates to Yeastar, not overwhelmingly so, but I don't think we need to get into the specific products and the nature, but I will give you enough to think about, right? So the basic, the first rendition of this product as we roll it out will be the license only. And we're doing this in a way that allows for existing partners with existing Clearfly SIP trunks on platforms that they maybe want to move away from a UCaaS perspective, the opportunity to do that in the first wave. And I think that there's some loyalty that we feel strongly towards a lot of you with, and we want to make sure that you have the first opportunity to take advantage of this solution if you feel like it's the right fit for what you're trying to do. And so with that said, the first wave will be license only. There will also be a bundled solution that will include, the license and the Clearfly SIP trunk. So that will be coming shortly following, and we'll get into again some of the rollout timings and all of that as we start to continue the training curriculum. So with that said, so again, understanding the concept of a floor pricing. So let's just say there's two licensing options with the Yeastar product. One is kind of an 80, think of it as an 80-20 rule, right? The original license, the basic license, the enterprise license, as they call it, in our product portfolio, will have a floor price of $4.50 a month. The ultimate, which gives you a few more things, and again, we'll touch on the actual difference and the specificity around that in the sales training, will have a floor price of $5.50. So again, so 95% above $4.50 is yours. No matter how high you think you can go with that, right? And that's a sort of per seat license floor model, right? So that hopefully that gives you enough to think about. There is also a really cool AI receptionist product that is really outstanding. There's also an AI transcriptionist solution that we can talk about as it relates to that product. Those pricings, I mean, probably aren't relevant for us right now in this discussion. But if you're interested in those floor prices and the potential margin that you can make on top of those, if those interest you, I would definitely be part of the sales training next week. And again, I'll put that up on the screen. That's a long-winded explanation as to where we're at with the Yeastar product and how we got there. And hopefully you get a better sense from why we're the tortoise and not the hare. And I think that at the end of the day, I think we all know who wins the race, right? In that fable. And I really feel like it's really appropriate for Clearfly as a company. We just like to move a little slower. We like to get things right. That I think that helps everybody in this scenario. So here's a couple of launch resources, next steps. So available today, reach out to your channel account manager, and they have all of these resources today. They've got the pricing model. They've got resources from a product perspective. They can help you do training. We will have an official sales training hosted by Tom on the 21st, same time as right now. And we will also have a technical training following day on the 22nd, right? So you can find the appropriate parties inside your organizations for those. But we're really excited. We're really, really excited. I think this meets a really interesting opportunity for all of us. And hopefully you find the pricing model compelling enough that it brings your attention back to the voice space. And that's really what we're trying to do. I really see our competitors as Microsoft, right? And the more and more of you that move to MSP services, the less and less voice we sell. And so our real goal here and our secret motivation is to bring you back to the voice world. And I feel like there's enough margin in here that this should be very interesting to you. And I hopefully you guys feel the same. And that's kind of where we're at today. I think we can open it up for a couple questions. Again, I'm not trying to be political, but if the questions are related to specificity around some of the stuff, I may push you off to the sales meetings and all of that. But certainly we are as about as open of a company to deal with as you'll find. So if you have any questions, let's shoot now.
Brett and Armando, will we be able to quote solutions as of today?
No, so there is a certification process that you'll need to complete before you'll have access to the pricing and the ability to quote. So the certification process is pretty simple. You're going to request a test account. The inside sales or the sales team will send you a test account. And at that point, it'll kind of lay out the entire format. It's really, the certification process is not built to cause anybody to be failed. It's literally teaching you to be self-reliant, finding answers within the documentation. There's a test scenario that you're going to build. I truly believe that test scenario, if you can build that, it'll probably cover 90% of all of your sales opportunities. So yeah, Brett, I don't expect that process to take real long. I mean, if you dedicated, 8 hours to it tops, you would go through the entire process and be ready to quote by the end of the day.
Hey,
That answer
Tom,
your question?
Hey, Tom, it's Mark. I had a question.
Hey, Mark.
This looks great, especially making an offering as stated to allow us, who's already a certified partner with Yeastar, another model to offer it out to customers, because right now we have to pay in advance for the full year of service, of course. And your offering is very tempting that way. My question is, if we're already trained, is there a faster way to onboard us?
Yeah, I mean, if you're already certified, then, and you're already installing that product, we're not going to have you jump through the hoops to go through the Clearfly certification process. So we just need to know that, speak with your sales team, and we can fast track that for you.
Okay, yeah, we're already up through AI receptionist, all the newest offerings. So it really be a matter of just getting onboarded. So
yeah, the only benefit, Mark, and again, it's not from a certification standpoint, it's just from a familiarity standpoint. You'll access those instances differently through Clearfly than what you currently do with the Yeastar. So getting a test account, just going through that process, it could be very, very quick, but I would recommend that.
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
A couple questions in Q&A. Teams integration. Tom, you want to touch on that?
Yeah. So Yeastar does support Teams integration. Couple different ways. They've got a document that's available about how that is accomplished. Off the top of my head, I don't have the specific answers as to what is required, but they definitely support it, again, 2 different ways. Let's see. Then there was another question. Is there a minimum number of seats? That answer is no. Let's see, there are chat questions. Will there be an invite sent for the sales training?
Yes.
Yeah, so you'll have to register just like you have today, and you will get a registration. But yeah, we will be sending out an email. I believe it's scheduled for later today, announcing that. But if you want to just register before you receive the email, feel free to go to the Clearfly portal, down to the footer, click on the training section, and then you can register right there. I have been corrected and I misspoke. There is a minimum seat requirement of 2.
So a question on the hosting, as I understand it, Chris, it sounds to me like this is going to remain hosted on Yeastar's platform rather than you folks bringing it into your servers. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep, that's
Okay.
correct. That
All right.
may not always be the case,
Okay.
Kerry.
Okay.
Like
Because we looked at that. We're also a Yeastar partner, and we
Yeah.
looked at that solution and hosting it on our own cloud. And that's why I was asking the question. So it sounds like
and so
we'll
so
we'll
there's kind
start
of
there.
kind of a constant evaluation of that, to be honest. There's a lot of pros and cons, and probably way too much detail to go into now, but this is the best opportunity right now for sure. Will it be that way forever? We'll see. We'll definitely see as we go. But yeah, good question. Chat. I'm just going to the chat here, Tom. Quick question. Oh, Clearfly branded or Yeastar branded solution. I'd probably say it's a Clearfly branded solution, supported solution. We're not hiding from the fact that it's a Yeastar and back-ended, if that makes sense, Harry. But yeah, good question. No, it's a Clearfly branded solution that way.
Okay, so to that point, Chris, so the Linkus soft phone, it obviously Linkus is Yeastar. So that we're not hiding that at all. We're not going to put Clearfly on the Linkus
No.
mobile app.
No,
Okay.
correct. Yep, correct.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions here, Tom?
I guess I need some clarification. There's a question on how does a new solution fit with CMMC and CJIS requirements? I guess I need some more clarification on those. I think the CJIS is a government requirement. We can look to see whether Yeastar systems are, meet those requirements. And if they don't, we'll let you know.
Yep. And again, I just to dovetail back on my, long preamble about all this. This is again the value of building an ecosystem with a number of different solutions, so that we're not tied to one specific technology or one particular company in these ways. So my job from my end is to continue to evolve that and make sure that there are competitive solutions, both from a pricing model perspective that potentially could solve some of those, because that different issues may come up as it relates to these products. Servers are located in AWS cloud.
The East server, or the East data center, is in Virginia. The West is in California.
And all that traffic does stay in the United States.
Other questions, anybody? There's a chat message, one moment. The question was 2 user minimum plus 2 trunk minimum, and that is correct, Eric.
Yeah, and again, I would just say that as we launch this at first, it will be the license only, right? So a really easy path for again existing Clearfly SIP trunk customers that you are maybe on a platform that you can easily move them off on, right? No port required, very very minimal forklift and effort to do so. So there'll be an immediate opportunity with that, which is why we're launching it in a license only capacity. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Greg. Greg, I said, nobody will be disappointed with the Yeastar platform. He's been selling it for years, and it's been fantastic. I can't say enough that like these guys over here, that are behind the curtain here, the Wizard of Oz on the technical side. when they couldn't break it, they were incredibly impressed. So incredibly impressed. So
And Chris,
and that's why we're having this discussion. I mean, that's a big reason why we're having this discussion. And the months that we took to negotiate a good business arrangement for all of us, right? So that's why we're having this discussion today.
And Chris, real quick, remember the conversation we had regarding where it's selling the most by Lucas in the middle of the country?
Yeah.
It is selling well in the middle of the country, and that's kind of amazing.
Yeah. And so the question about who else is offering this? So again, like this is sold and any of these folks who have Carrie or anybody else can tell you the same, who are already selling this platform, are sold through traditional telecom distributors, but in a yearly upfront licensing purchasing model. So that's who really sells this today. Nobody sells this in the model that we're releasing today. So.
Lawrence asked, do you get to choose the data center? Yes. So you'll choose, do you want east or west?
Burning.
Okay. If there's no other questions, we'll let you guys all go. I'm looking forward to having the vast majority of you folks on the sales webinar next week and the technical webinar as well.
Appreciate you guys, every single one of you, very much, and we're really excited to keep growing with you guys.
Yeah, looking forward to working on it. Thanks.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
Thanks,
you bet.
everyone. Okay, bye.